There's a certain irony in the fact that this, my first game review of the new year and new decade, is centered around a Steam game that is no longer actually available on Steam. The game in question is known as Mist Hunter. Mist Hunter, to put it bluntly, is a fast-paced, retro-inspired FPS game with all the usual attributes of said genre, including deep character customization, rich lore, a tightly integrated morality system, etc. No, come on, this is a classic Wolfenstein 3D homage type game. What do you think it contains? Lots of shooting, lots of running and gunning, lots of hitting people with baseball bats. In many ways, it's like playing the Scout in TF2 using the default loadout. In addition to the obvious FPS framework, there is an additional RPG-esque card-based perk system, where every time a player builds up enough points from both individual kills and killstreak bonuses, they can select one power-up card. This can't repeat until a player has a full deck of 5 cards. Certain cards may feature duplicate perks, however this is not discouraged by the game, but rather the game allows and encourages perk stacking. You want to double down on reload speed or maximum health? By all means, go ahead. You're given the freedom to do so if you wish. The gameplay customization does not end here, however. Over time, players unlock a variety of primary and secondary weapons they can choose from as their preferred loadout. While initially weapon selection is limited when you first start playing the game, it won't stay that way for long. Weapon unlocks are tied to the Steam achievement system. Earn more achievements, and in the game you unlock more weapons. I cannot recall in recent memory seeing a game tie weapons, levels, and other similar content to the normally separate process of unlocking Steam achievements. Personally, I quite like this approach, as it feels more in line with what older 80s and 90s games were well known for, actually forcing you to play the game and get good at said game in order to unlock the extra content on the side. Mist Hunter is designed entirely around the old-fashioned concept of replay value. You will die. A lot. The only distinction between a skilled and unskilled player is purely by the sole metric of how fast you'll meet your end. Enemies come in a number of varieties, all with their own unique attack style. Some, like the flying enemies, you'll obviously need to take down using ranged weapons, or you get really lucky with a melee attack, if they come close enough. But some other enemies, like the more slower-paced, grounded enemies, you're best off smacking around with your melee weapons. Using the baseball bat combined with the axe-throwing secondary weapon was my favorite loadout combination. Who doesn't like alternating between tossing glowing red axes and bashing in brains with a glowing baseball bat? I mean, come on, you can't go wrong there. But the primary weapons are where the game seems to really fall apart. None of them feel like they have any meaningful impact on enemies. That's not to say they don't have any impact whatsoever, but it just doesn't feel like they do. With a lot of the secondary and melee weapons, you get that Doom 2016 feeling of just dominating these lesser beings with your insanely OP weapons. They feel honestly fun to use. With some of the primary weapons, especially the weird camera one, I get the feeling I'd probably deal more of an impact throwing KFC biscuits at my enemies than I'd have by just continuing to use my primary weapon on them. The game's colorful art style, particularly the frequent purple lighting accompanied by dark shadows, strongly invokes memories of the likewise short-lived game Mirage: Arcane Warfare, which is definitely a plus in my book, as while Mirage had many problems, its art style and map design quality were definitely not among them. At the end of the day, Mist Hunter's biggest problem, aside from the weak primary weapons, of course, isn't in regards to what's present in the game, but moreover what isn't. In a game so heavily and exclusively focused on fast-paced arena FPS combat, I'm stunned there's no quick melee hotkey. For example, in Doom 2016, one of the most highly praised aspects of the combat system was its melee finishers. And if you're going to clearly design your game to be in the same style as Doom and Wolfenstein, at least take the time to do it right. You need to give the player some ability to create space, whether by a quick melee jab ability or some sort of MOBA-esque cooldown ability. Giving the player some means of crowd control would allow for a more interesting combat flow, and would reward higher skilled play. Also, on a lesser note, I would love to see even more weapons added in future updates. I really like what's here, and if they left the total weapon count at where it is now, I think it would still be a reasonable offering. But if you want to really design the game around allowing players to build their own loadouts, as the developer clearly indicated with the card perk system, why not expand the existing list of weapons to incorporate and encourage even more alternate playstyles? Some might ask, and rightly so, why I'm putting in this effort into critiquing a game that even the developer decided wasn't good enough for Steam. My answer is simple. It's because the developer decided their game wasn't good enough for Steam. In an age where so many developers on both the AAA and indie markets will gladly deceive and take advantage of both newcoming and long-term players in their community, it is heartening to see any developer step forward and say, I'm not happy with the state of my game, and I'm not going to continue selling this game until I'm happy with it. The developer of Mist Hunter made that decision, knowing full well that discontinuing the product would risk losing a not insignificant portion of their player base. I've reached out to the developer since, and I have heard that the game is likely to be reintroduced at a later date, once it has been reworked to address some of the criticisms from its community. I honestly hope the developer stays true to their word and Mist Hunter does return to Steam Early Access in the foreseeable future. While I've mocked and criticized a number of aspects of this game, it's still better than most of the garbage indie games sent my way on a regular basis. And I think we as a community should encourage more developers to take this proactive stance. Sometimes it's okay to say, this game isn't okay, and pull the game from sale until it gets to the point that the game is more worth its asking price. So credit to the developer on that one, and here's hoping Mist Hunter gets its act together fairly soon, so I can critique it in even more detail in the future. On that note, that's where I'm going to wrap things up for today. This video was kind of a last-minute stand-in for my Call of Duty Modern Warfare review. I wasn't quite happy with one segment of the video and decided to re-record part of it just to bring the quality standard up a bit, because if I'm not bothering to put in the effort to make the video as good as I can, why should anyone put in the effort to watch it? That video is now in the final stages of editing and will be out next Monday on the 20th. Apologies for the delay, but for those of you asking for longer review videos, I think it's safe to say that at the very least, you'll soon be getting your wish. It's possible that once you see the video, you might start to miss those shorter videos. If you enjoyed this video and want to show your support, because it definitely means a lot, subscribing always helps. But also take a moment to comment below with your feedback on this video. Comments help out a video just as much, if not more so, than hitting the like button. Also, unlike most creators, I actively respond to all comments as soon as I can, so if you're ever trying to get my attention, you can always do so in the comments section down below. This is WarriorDan signing out. Stay awesome, everybody, and peace out.